What's up guys, this is Helium Lemon 15. Welcome back to The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. This is part 58, I think. Today is March 15th. It's a Friday. It's almost 5 in the afternoon. Sunday is St. Patrick's Day. And today is ridiculously warm. Although, I guess I'm not actually sure if there was a thunderstorm this morning because it said there was going to be. And I wasn't actually out and about when it happened, but, you know, I walked home like a little bit in the afternoon and it was fine. And it's absolutely beautiful right now, like compared to all the cold weather we've been having, like long underwear weather. Was what I call it for the most of March, and now all of a sudden we practically have summer weather, like it's in the 50s and 60s. It's just like, and I like feel it. I feel like a sensation, like a tingling sensation or something. No, I don't know. I know that's corny, but you know, like you really do like come alive when it's spring or something. I don't know how people in different countries with like no 4 seasons see it. Anyway, we're continuing through the rest of the Great Bay Temple. We got I want to say like 2/3 of the way through it because we did the 2 mini bosses and we have the ice arrows and everything. We still have like a last little section of the temple to explore, and it's only 3 or 4 rooms. And this was a part of the temple where I was not recording my voice, and I was a little bit on my own to figure a lot of this stuff out. But, I mean, I've watched this temple plenty of times before. I played through it, you know, with the walkthrough before, and anyway, whatever. But a lot of this temple was really garbage and annoying just because of the physics and the game design behind it. And, yeah, I don't know. Speaking of garbage game design, I've been playing, it's like the original version of Oddworld Abe's Odyssey. I have it on Steam, and it's like, I like the kind of art style or whatever. It's like a early like PlayStation game, although I think it was adapted for PC, and that's why when you hit controls, it says, oh, press Alt to do this, or Control to do this. It's like keyboard controls, but hey, at least it's a game that makes sense with keyboard controls, unlike Ukulele. But yeah, that game is like redactified. No, I'm trying to come up with like, I was like, this game is so hard, it's retarded. And I was like trying to come up with a better word than retarded, because retarded is definitely a mean like word. But it worked. Okay, so I spent so much time in this room goofing around with the water wheel. It's just so inconvenient. That's the word. That's a word. I know words. This room is so utterly inconvenient and horrible. Although I feel like if I went back to this room, I'd know what I was doing a little bit more and not have such a asinine time with it. But as of this, like, you'll see, like, I do this like 30 times more than I needed to. And yeah, I don't know. I was just this made me really angry and frustrated, and I was like, but can't you even do anything else in this room? Well, in this room there's basically no way back. There's one way forward, and there are 2 stray fairies that are hidden pretty out of the way. Actually, hold on. 4 minutes and 34. So yeah, we're still doing this, oh my gosh, this room is so terrible. Oddworld's Abe's Odyssey, I don't really have any other comment on it. I have like a friend who hasn't really played the game before, and he's seen like the bad ending of it or something, and that was scary enough to like turn him off from the game. And I could have gone to the next room there, but like I fell down, and once you fall down, you have to do this whole thing over again. And I don't know. I was trying to like, do I get a reward for killing all the enemies or something? I don't know. I don't know why I had such a horrible time with this room. It was just, I guess, just bad luck or something. So yeah, other than that, I don't know what really to talk about. I mean, I had this opportunity at my school to meet this guy who's done like a bunch of film scores, like some pretty big name movies of recent years, and just talk about his process and show the computer programs that he uses to do film scores. And that was really interesting. Film scoring is, I mean, I'm very much a fan of video game music. I'm not the biggest fan of film music, but I think it's really cool. I think it's a pretty nifty industry. And there's so much money to be made from doing film scores, so it's interesting. And so many other music-related jobs in Hollywood, even though I can't really see myself living in Hollywood. So yeah. But yeah, not a lot of this footage, like I only edited a little bit of this footage, like I only edited this video before recording this, but I love this music to begin with, but I love it at 3 times speed, which is what I have it at right now, and this footage of me like messing around is really only bearable to watch at like 3 times speed, even though I get to Zelda Temple, what do you expect, but like, and all the industrial noises that this temple makes from all the different water wheels and stuff, like, listening to this footage at 3 times speed makes me just, like, that much more aware of it, which is cool. That much more aware of the sound design of this temple. And I kind of just want to, like, grab some sounds from this, just, like, this sped up footage. Also, like, those, like, puzzle solving sounds, like they sound much more like a, you know, like a one of those classic Zeldas when they're sped up. You know, you can picture this being like Link's Awakening or some other game with like a 8-bit sound design. And there's a Stray Fairy. It was pretty well hidden. Actually, I was talking about like sound design with one of my friends, and I was like, well, like, we were talking about, like, oh, I used Sibelius to do such and such, and he was like, oh, that's okay if you want to score Super Mario Brothers. And I don't know how he meant it. I guess I thought he meant it as a derogatory thing, but like Super Mario like Galaxy and Super Mario Odyssey and all those Mario games being made today are definitely using like full symphony orchestras, like at least Super Mario Galaxy is. I think Odyssey is. I'm not sure about some of the other games. I don't know. It's like New Super Mario Bros. U and whatever the other one are, Super Mario 3D World, are not really like commercial. They not as commercially hyped as like some of the games like Super Mario Galaxy and Super Mario Odyssey, which I think is that's my feeling of it. That's the vibe that I get from those different games, which I haven't played all of those games. In fact, I've only played a very few Mario games, like all in all. But I think like people somewhere around my age have a real nostalgia for the way that Nintendo used to do games, essentially. Oh my gosh, I was so confused by this room. Like, I found both Stray Fairies, but I was like, is there another way to go from this room? And it turns out there isn't. But people are like, have this real nostalgia for the way that Nintendo used to do things, and like, you know, games like Mario 64 and Banjo-Kazooie and, you know, the 2 Zelda games on the N64 are like such, you know, they stick in people's memories because I think of kind of their scope and what they heralded in as far as scope of video games. Like, even though they have this kind of childlike feeling to them that's been preserved for a while, and that's, you know, people play them for the nostalgia. People play them also because, like, they feel like they're playing a legit game that, like, a lot of thought and effort went into. I don't know. I really can't explain, like, the nostalgic appeal of, like, freaking Ocarina of Time or whatever it is, because that's still a mystery to me. Like, it's still something, like, so, like, psychological and you know, apparent to, like, hundreds or maybe even thousands of people and not just me. Even though, like, I don't know, I'm not, like, a gamer, like, I love video games, but I can't sit down at AGDQ and say, hey, bros, I'm gonna do a stream of, you know, how good I am at Ocarina of Time, or, like, do it in 3 hearts, or do a speed run, or exploit all these glitches, etc., etc. That's because those are, like, they're hardcore gamers out there. Anyway. Oh, I keep saying anyway, because I'm just keep being like, that's a dumb thing to be talking about, but then I don't really know what else to be talking about. Just kind of how, like, oh, I don't know. Just kind of being like, hey, this is the Great Bay Temple, let me kind of show you around, and, like, I don't know, I keep missing all the interesting parts because, like, bumping into pipes because I can't talk about them because they're all sped up. And I don't know. This is the Great Bay Temple. I mean, you've hopefully seen the last couple of videos. If you're joining this LP at this episode and you have no knowledge of this game or what it is, then I pity you. But that's not really the case. That's usually not the case. Although I'd be honored if, like, this LP that I do, this very, like, shoddy, like, low-budget LP that I do of Majora's Mask with incredibly dumb commentary is your first exposure to this game and it inspires you to pick up a copy on Wii Virtual Console or 3DS or however you get it. Yeah, that's true. Like, now even this version of this game is a little bit antiquated because there's the 3DS version now. And the 3DS version of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, they, like, tried to completely update some of the temple design just because because the N64 games have such ludicrous hard design at times. Well, not ludicrous, just very obtuse design at times. Like the water temple from Ocarina of Time. I'm going to have to play through it blind at some point, but I know it's hard and it's confusing because of the elements of game design. So whatever. I would love to do a soundtrack for a game like this. Like this song from this game inspires me so much, just with like the organ texture and the kind of really dark atmospheric feeling that it gives, and like the metal percussion, and I think I've talked about it before. Yeah, I quite enjoy the variety of video game soundtracks. Everything from like orchestral scores to kind of like more chamber scores like Seasons After Fall to like Bomberman Hero, which is entirely drum and bass. So to Samorost 3, which I think Thomas Dvorak's music is in, or Dvorak. I call him Dvorak because of the composer, but Thomas Dvorak's music is in its own category just because of, I don't know, maybe it isn't. But here's this room. Oh, we were already in this room. And we're coming down to the end of the episode, but I think if you go in here, yeah, that's the way forward. and hopefully we'll be going there soon. So thank you for watching this episode of The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, and I will see you in the next video where we make more progress on the Great Bay Temple. Goodbye!